Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys had an awesome day in the market today. I know it was a much better day today despite FOMC, all that Fed chop out there, but had some pretty good trades today. I want to actually dive into those with you as always and show you how I caught the best stocks in the market today, like this here in XBP. Played it beautifully today, as you can see here, from 2 all the way up into the upper 220s. Really good opportunities on this morning, and I want to dive into it with y'all and hopefully help you crush the rest of the trading week. Now, it was a pretty good day today. The only thing that I can say about it is I could have made a lot more than I did, and I'm going to go over that with y'all so you can see how I'm learning from today, because guess what? The learning never stops. That's why we make these videos, because I want you to learn from me. That way you don't have to do it yourself. So today I did really well. BWAV I crushed, XPP I crushed, RAPL I should have crushed. I'll show you what happened there. And SGD did okay on OP small. But CRCL, SRPT, the main issues of the morning. We're going to talk about why that is. And really recap to sum it all up real quick is you have to know what your playbook is in English, simple English. You've got to be able to walk up to somebody in the grocery store and look, this is my playbook. This is what I'm best at. This is the exact share price that I'm best at. This is the exact structure of stock that I'm best at. The best setup that I'm best at. The whole 9 yards. You should be able to describe that in simple English, exactly what you're best at. That's it. Exactly what you're best at. So let's dive into these trades from today. I want to go through this with you because there's some things that I can work on going into tomorrow myself. Again, like I said, there's always room to improve, but it's one of those things where we've got to look back and see how we can improve. So again, pretty good day today. Nice green day, but there's always room for improvement. And no matter how long you've been trading, even after 8 years for me, there is always room to improve. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. The moment that you think that you are better than the market, the moment you think that you are perfect is the same moment that you begin degressing. You begin falling off that cliff of success, and complacency is the death of all. So let's get into this. I want to actually start by going over BWAV was pretty good, but I want to start with the bad ones. Let's go to the good ones last. I want to start with CRCL, and we'll sort of work our way through here. Now, CRCL looked pretty good this morning, and a simple pullback entry that I normally take, right? A normal simple setup here off of VWAP. I took on CRCL, and I took it pretty tight here off of VWAP, looking for the curl down here off these lows to move back up into this previous high of day. Now, of course, I didn't get that here this morning, but that's beside the point. The thing is, the setups that work on a micro float, 2, 3, 4, 10 million share float stock, is not going to work on a stock that's $200 a share. What works on a $50 stock with a 2 million share float is not going to work on a $200 stock. And what works on a stock with a 3 million share float is not going to work on a, say, $5 stock with a 100 million share float. And structure is extremely important. And again, it's important that you classify these things into your playbook based on what works and what doesn't. And this is why journaling is so important. You've got to journal, see where your best success coming from. What setups are they? What share price are they? Where are you losing the most money? What share price is that? Figure out what that is and remove it from your trading. Less is more. Doing less of what's not working, more of what is, right? So less trades with more size. That's where I've messed up today. So again, my happy spot is from like $1 to $20. That's like my happy medium. Maybe 25, maybe 30 if risky, but 1 to 20 is that happy medium, that happy spot here. And with that too, float underneath 50 million shares, even that's kind of big. But like 20 million and less, sort of that sweet spot. The issue was my scanner this morning, I had the criteria way too wide. And in a forgiving market where stuff is working, you can be a little bit looser with your criteria and maybe get away with it. And I think that's my issue, is I was getting away with it for a little bit. Well, as the market's a little bit toppy now, off its highs, over its all-time highs going into FOMC today, well, it wasn't too forgiving, and so bit me in the butt today. Gave back some profits because of it. And really the big thing is you've got to stick to your set playbook. And so CRCL, almost $200 a share, should not have been anywhere on my list today. I don't trade from a day trading POV. Okay, might swing them, but different. From a day trading perspective, it's just not my playbook. Why did I do CRCL? Now, was it a bad setup? No. No, if it was a $5 stock with a 1 million, 2 million, 5 million share float, then yeah, it would have been awesome. But here just wasn't a great look. The structure of the stock. So circle, should have avoided it. The setup here was great. Simple little VWAP pullback for the curl back up into that high of day. Didn't get it because again, does not fit my playbook. Moving along to SRPT as well. It's just one of those things on a small cap stock, the way this thing trades. you know, I would maybe be able to get reads on this. This thing didn't trade too bad. Honestly, could have looked for this pullback out of this area of liquidity, but I was looking for it to hold off of the pre-market levels, and so I sort of neglected that, and I took a loss here when reality is, you know, the entry should have been back in the area of found liquidity. So, but all that aside, I wouldn't have made a massive amount of money from this regardless. Would have been fairly small green, but I still want to talk about it nonetheless. Again, took a loss on this because of price action. I do not trade stocks like this, and SRPT had a 93 million share float. Again, just not part of my playbook. It is what it is. Let's move on from this, move over to BWAV. Traded this one fairly well this morning. I'm actually pretty happy with this, and it was actually on my watch list last night. If you watch my top 3 stock watch list that I post up every night on all social medias, you probably saw this. Thing was perfect. On the list last night to watch here for the break of trend, if we get going over 750, we had range towards this 11 to 12 area of supply overhead, which was respected pretty much to a T today. I played it pretty well. This thing halts up here out of market open, about 9:45 or so, resumes. And I'm taking pullbacks through here in this range. I get a nice move. I get an ad over the high of day. Price breaks through 10. I get more ads over the highs, and I capture a pretty nice move here. I capture a move here from 880 all the way up into the upper 990s, and so had a beautiful trade on this. Beautiful trade on this. Could not have asked for better opportunity. And so, you know, was able to add over the high of day, break up higher, add for the next break of the high, all fine and dandy. But then, per my system, market tries to break higher here, and guess what? Big wick off this high, and it closes back beneath the previous candle's high. And so I take an instant exit. I take my profit. So overall, I'm out there from the 880s up into those 980s, 990s. So that was that. Then, of course, we saw price consolidate, try to take it off this pullback for the break of this, for the break of trend, and it does, but I didn't love it too much, so I took my profits and ran with it. Now, looking back over here again, massive sellers off these highs here, so we know that sellers are sitting through here in the market, so I don't love this through here. So I'm looking for pullbacks, and market pulls back, grabs liquidity down here beneath VWAP, breaks back to the upside, pulls back again, confirms off of VWAP. I don't play it through here, but I do take the breakout. After price breaks out, confirms off this area of found liquidity here. I take the pullback entry, risking this low here for the range up through previous highs. And I get just that. And again, I'm able to capture a pretty nice move on the break of trend here from the lower 10s up into the upper 10s. So again, really happy with that through there. Again, just sticking to the plan from the watch list. We knew we had overhead supply sitting through the 11. So of course, it didn't touch it all through here. The watch list made that very, very clear and would have helped you avoid all this chop up through into the highs. But the biggest and best opportunity for me this morning, from a pure simplistic standpoint, was XBP. This thing was amazing. So good. I mean, I kid you not, this is probably my favorite setup that I've seen the last few days. The way this thing played out was gorgeous. I could have not asked for a better move, a cleaner move. This thing was gorgeous. So now what do we have here? Let's take a look. Now, first and foremost, this thing made an amazing move back here off of VWAP. I was trading VWAV, so I missed this move here, which is fine because I was making money on VWAV. I would have loved to have played this here, though. But beautiful consolidation here off of VWAP. Look at this. Price halts up, resumes, and guess what? Respects off of VWAP multiple times. Look at this. Breaks to the high above VWAP, pulls back off VWAP, big wick off the low to signal buyers off of VWAP, pulls back again, gets bought back up off of VWAP, and just keeps on putting in place this range. So you have this amazing breakout opportunity here. Now, price breaks out. All through here, I'm still trading VWAV, so I missed this initial move, but it's not done yet. So looking at the daily time frame here to identify range to the upside, we can look back here and we see these past highs sitting off the 180s over on XPP. So this 180 is going to be extremely crucial here playing these pullbacks. So we want to make sure we have that 180 level noted here off this high. Again, looking back at past price action, look at the 180 level here. 180 is so key. And then, of course, we can see overhead, we have the next high sitting up here in the 220s. So we know where our past levels are, which will act as areas of range. And so now we bring it over into the intraday time frame. Now, what we had here was a nice ascending tightening wedge. So we have, of course, higher lows getting bought up here, and of course this sort of tightening highs off the top of the channel as well. Now, this is great because we can use simple pullbacks off the moving average and VWAP. Again, right there in line as well with the daily level as well. That daily level set right here at 190 pretty much off the 188 high on the daily, and we knew that the next level on the daily was about 220. And so you can see exactly how that was respected here as well. It gave us this really nice, healthy range to trade all through here, and could not have been any easier. So we broke up out of this tightening ascending channel here, and what do? We look for a pullback. So I look for a nice controlled pullback here, and I'm able to grab it fairly well at 194. You can see here, napped the entry, watch for price to pull back, nailed the entry there, risking for the curl here off this previous high, and get a beautiful move here from about 195 all the way to the 220s. This thing was amazing. You know, I was risking about 7 cents a play and was able to capture almost a 25-cent move. So really, really good play, extremely clean. Have not seen it up quite this clean in a long time. But stuff like this, I want to see more often. And I think it's more a matter of, like I keep saying, big picture time frame focus of what doesn't work, more of what does work to build up that conviction, to just zone in on the stocks that are working. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we're watching RCL, SRPT, you know, etc., our focus is divided between minis and just on these setups which meet my specific playbook. So then, of course, there's some opportunity costs where you're getting distracted because you're over here watching this while this is making a nice move. And, you know, you're not missing opportunities on the right stocks because you're watching the wrong stocks. So the big thing to take from all of this, and this was an amazing opportunity here where I took the pullback, got the move up into the highs on the daily there. Could not have been any better. Of course, double top off the high was my key for an exit here. Yeah, that's the big thing is understand your playbook in simple English terms. Be able to explain it to somebody on the street that knows nothing about trading. Here, this is what I'm good at. This is where I make the most money. This is what I need to be focusing on, and so on and so forth. So that pretty much sums up the morning. Overall, pretty good day. The only thing is, like I said, the CRCL, the SRPT should have avoided, and would have at least propped me up a little bit more today. You know, those are my only losses. Everything else, BWAV was amazing. RAPL is what I wanted to talk about. This was also on the watch list yesterday, and I fumbled the bag so hard on this. I fumbled the bag so unbelievably hard. It's ridiculous. So, of course, I didn't like it up into its highs because take a look at this. We had this nasty spot of liquidity formed off the highs here. Look at this. Nasty double top off the highs, and so we know we have sellers sitting all through here. Fine, cool. So I'm playing it off pullbacks after it reclaims the front side because, of course, this does break to the backside out of market open today. Take a look here. Breaks to the backside. Again, fails trend, and then reclaims. I play the reclaim. And I left a ton of money on the table. It's unreal. So we had a beautiful setup. Take a look at this. And I'm playing this on the reclaim. Where we get the break. I'm taking the pivot here over this area of liquidity. And I go undersized. I come in way undersized. Because I wanted it a little bit lower. I penny pinched. I wanted it lower. Great setup. But again, like I said, I wanted it lower. And so I took 2,000 shares here. You can see right here. I'll show you. Yeah, so I took 2,000 shares here at 651. Risking right here off 640. You know, so again, undersized. Way undersized. And I get profit taken up into the 660s. And instead of just riding what I had, I said, let me just look for a pullback. I'll look to take bigger size on this. Stupidest thing I could have done today. Instead of just riding the wave, let's just take full profit and look for a pullback. No idea. So that was that. Then we get the pre-market high. I try to take pullbacks, and then again, don't really accomplish anything. Just a loss, a win, a loss, a win. And here, and just again, sort of break even on this one today. But more frustrating than anything on this here, because again, I missed a massive dollar a share move, or 50-cent move, really. And then I try to play it over the highs, and I get chopped around, and it's like, yeah, so that's frustrating. But that was my day. Nice and green BWAV, nice and green XBP. That's all today. REPL break even on, CRCL, SRPT red on. Again, just got to cut those out going into the next day. Whenever it's slow, respect that it's slow. But the big thing with not so much just the pickiness aspect, but more so along the lines of just improper scanner configuration. My scanner was screaming stocks at me that had 100 million share float. I had it configured a little bit too loosely, so I have tightened it up here after the morning session to prevent that from happening. Any temptations from coming along into the rest of the week. So all that said, nice day today, though. Looks like y'all in chat did pretty well today, too, so that's all good. But again, just to find your playbook, and I'm looking forward to crushing it Thursday and Friday. I need to. Monday was a 5-hour day. Yesterday was a 1-hour red day. Today was another really good day, but I've got to crush it Thursday and Friday. We've got to just zone in, dial in, and, you know, I want to knock it out the park today. I've got to really get my game face on. I've got to come in with some serious confidence tomorrow, and I'm just going to knock it out the park. So that's the goal for tomorrow. Further improvements as things are a little bit sort of choppy right now going to FOMC, and of course, all-time high market getting a little bit toppy, but that's what we're looking at. So as always, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this. And of course, make sure to also claim your 7-day free trial. That link is down in the description below where you can watch me trade every single morning in real time on stocks just like this and get alerts, education, watch list, chat room access, and so much more. And that being said, I will see y'all there.